Colorado recently got a new national monument this past year, the Camp Hale-Continental Divide National Monument. And to celebrate that, here is a list of the best things to do in this new national monument. First up, we have Mohawk Lakes. On this hike, you'll pass by 5 beautiful alpine lakes, a couple of amazing waterfalls, some old cabins, and mining equipment ruins, all while being surrounded by wonderful views. This is a moderate hike with 5 miles out and back to the lower lake and 8 miles out and back to the very last lake. This is easily my favorite place to go hiking in this new national monument. This next hike is the Crystal Lake / Crystal Peak hike and is a moderate 3 mile out and back to Lower Crystal Lake or an 8 mile out and back to Crystal Peak. I have done a hike where I went to Crystal Lake and then up to Crystal Peak and then down the backside of Crystal Peak and then past all the Mohawk Lakes, making a nice long loop. Although I do not suggest it, there is no official trail, and if you don't know what you're doing, you could get lost or cliffed out, as the backside of Crystal Peak is quite steep and full of boulders. Rainbow Lake is an easy hike in this national monument. It is a 1 mile round trip hike. The hike is along a little creek, and then you go up to Rainbow Lake, and there are beautiful views there, and just a great place to have a picnic and relax. The next is Mayflower Gulch, a favorite for people both in the summer and in the winter. In the middle of the gulch, there are a few cabins, surrounded by beautiful views and towering peaks. This is an easy 3 mile out and back again hike. This next hike is a 14er. A mountain over 14,000 feet. Quandary Peak is one of the easiest 14ers to do in the state of Colorado. On the hike up, you are guaranteed amazing views with a good chance that you'll see a mountain goat. Due to its popularity and proximity to Denver, this is a very popular hike. There will be a need to make a reservation and take a shuttle to the trailhead. I'll provide a link for that below. Also be sure to start on this hike early in the morning so you don't get caught in a storm on top of the mountain. This is the iconic Peak 1 standing over Frisco. Now, to hike this mountain is a bit more difficult than the other hikes I've mentioned, but it is a 7 mile round trip hike to the top. It is a bit steep, but the views of Lake Dillon and the surrounding towns are well worth it. Also be sure to start this hike early so you don't get stuck at the top during a storm. Now, this next one isn't really a hike, but it is the reason this national monument exists. So if you want, check out Camp Hale. You can hike and drive around and see this historic area where the 10th Mountain Division was trained. If you're going to be going on these adventures, you're going to need some good gear. And in the links below, you'll see some gear that I've been testing for hundreds of miles over the course of years. For example, Darn Tough socks out of Vermont. They're warm, cozy, have a lifetime guarantee. Grail water filters, which I've been using again for hundreds of miles of backpacking. Then we have Cal Topo maps made right here in Colorado. They are the most accurate and detailed maps you'll find of the Colorado and Utah area. My other gear is usually bought secondhand or at backcountry.com, which is a lot cheaper than your typical big box store.